Ho ho bodies, welcome to Borderline Games. I am Gareth and this is the Raging Loop, part 2. Last time we were riding our motorbike through a bunch of, I don't know, what would it be called? I don't know, a load of, is rural countryside? Rural's countryside, right? Well, we were travelling through a load of rural land without any cities in between. We stop at like a petrol station. We try and ask for directions. The woman at the petrol station directed us this way. We went that way, and the road turns into like a dirt track. So we crash our bike because it's only roadworthy. It's not for driving on. What's that? It's not off-road. It's not an off-road bike. So we're kind of walking through a forest, and then we're kind of wading through a river, and then eventually we find a light, like a flashlight that had been dropped by this woman. And then we spoke to this woman. We went back to her place, although I think it was revealed that it wasn't her place, maybe. And that in fact she was at somebody else's house. Is that what happened? I can't remember. But basically, there was a lot of flirting going on with the protagonist and this woman, but it seemed like there was something a bit off about this woman, and now we're going to find out if our suspicions were right. Okay, so now it's the next day. It's the 12th of May. All right. The last thing I remembered was our little, when was the last time you pissed yourself while sleeping talk. I had to tell her about the time I got so drunk I wet my pants in the middle of the boarding house. She laughed so hard she started frothing at the mouth and passed out. I woke up with a splitting headache. Oh man. Morning already. Light poured in through the frosted window. I pulled out my phone and checked the time. 7 in the morning. I'd gone to sleep somewhere between 2 and 3, which probably wasn't quite enough sleep. At least I didn't wake up to some horror movie scene. The building wasn't in ruins and the girl wasn't actually a skeleton. Though in a way this might have been worse. Ugh. She was spread out on the floor on the other side of the mini table. Her breathing was mixed with some weird gurgling sounds. I hesitantly looked at her. The saint that had saved me from the hell I was in last night had puked in the middle of her sleep. What was I supposed to do here? As a guest, I couldn't really be too harsh on her. Kaemi-chan! Phew! She wasn't waking up. Well, I just do what little I could. There. That should be good enough. I'd used tons of toilet paper to clean up her mess and flush it down the toilet. It left a stain on the floor, but it was dirty to begin with, so whatever. I'd even wet a towel and cleaned her face. Even then, she showed no signs of waking up. Some of it was on her hair and clothes, but I figured it was best if she took care of that herself. Kaemi-chan. Morning. The first hint of consciousness so far today. I believe him for a bit. Without waiting for a response, I walked to the entrance. She'd have to take a shower and change and all that, so I'd kill time outside. I stepped into my still damp shoes with my bare feet. My socks were in the washing machine with a towel she gave me to wipe my legs, and reached for the doorknob. I opened the door and was greeted by a gust of wind. The raindrops gathered on the leaves of the tree next to the building, flew right into my face, making me grimace. The rain from last night was already over. The sky was pretty clear, but despite that, I noticed the visibility of my surroundings was poor. The building was surrounded by leaves. The old structure was basically buried in a forest of trees, about as tall as itself. There were branches poking into the exposed hallway. It almost felt like they'd reached out and grabbed me if I wasn't careful. I kind of felt like I was in an overgrown ruin. I turned around and saw the room and Kiemi just as I left them. Yep, it was all real. I closed the door. There were other rooms in this building, which made me wonder if they were occupied. Hell, I wondered the same thing about the area in general. I pushed the branches aside to see if there were any other buildings nearby. Suddenly, something entered my vision. Oh, it didn't feel right. Something that shouldn't have been there. The leaves I moved revealed a woman clad in curious clothing. The moment I recognized her as such, she opened her closed eyes. Did our eyes meet? Another strong wind. I shielded my face from the spray of raindrops. When I looked outside again, the woman was nowhere in sight. Was that an illusion? If not, then what? What kind of place was this? It could have been a real Hicksville, a marginal village, a bunch of actual ruins, or an illegal settlement. I had some theories, but I set them aside for now. It seemed like a place worth exploring regardless. I went down the stairs and found no sign of the woman, or anyone else for that matter. A short distance away from the building, I turned around and sure enough it was pretty much covered in trees. I went to the place where I saw the woman. There were footprints in the grass here. Maybe I'd find her if I followed them. Redder is no longer available. It's nice to know. They led me to an open area. It was unused, but it looked like someone was trying to do something with it. Was it supposed to be a construction site? Even if it was clearly abandoned. There were large rocks and lots of sediment near a prefab. From what I could tell, there had been a giant landslide which forced them to stop construction. The fact that plant growth was still minimal meant that it happened fairly recently. The footprints seemed to be going down the hill next to the site. Following them, I finally saw something that could be called civilization. There was a set of paddy fields with houses nearby. So, this actually was a settlement. What a relief. I decided to keep following the footprints and approach the settlement. I came across another unpaved path that was clearly used by people and cars. It was lined with weeds and bushes reaching up to my waist. It was home to caterpillars and grasshoppers, among other things. Spiders were no exception. There was no shortage of insects there, so it was a good place for a net. I wasn't particularly scared of spiders, but I didn't like them, either. At least they were just harmless orb weavers. Regardless, I avoided these bushes just in case and followed the path like the good city boy I was. There was a large boulder, surrounded by grass. It was strangely tall, making it look like it was put there by people. On its dewy surface there was a grey tree frog, ready to go after the many insects scattered about. I walked a bit further and came across a house with a small field nearby. The field's location made it safe to assume it belonged to the inhabitants. If there were inhabitants anyway. I couldn't see anyone, and just like always, there was grass everywhere. There was another boulder standing next to the house. This one was obviously placed there by human hand. What was the point? Was it a monument or something? The footprints continued into the field. The wet mud on the field was full of small, young but healthy-looking rice plants. If you ignored the standing boulders in the area, the place looked like a normal farming village. I was both relieved and worried at the same time. From what I saw, there weren't any other buildings besides the ones in this settlement. Everything beyond was just mountains, meaning that this place was completely isolated. And I was a complete outsider. There was no way things would go well if I ran into a random local. Why not? I belatedly crouched to hide myself a bit. It was probably best for me to go back. Chiemi might have been looking for me. Suddenly, I heard a sound. I looked for its source and found a speaker on a wooden utility pole in the middle of a small plaza. A morning broadcast. I'd never heard this tune before. It was cheerful at first, but had some parts that seemed really dark. I found it unsettling. Perplexed, I stopped walking, and what happened next made me hide myself. There was a person in the area densely surrounded by houses. But they weren't normal. Ooh. What was with that appearance? What was that on her face? Though I was a fair distance away, I could see an old woman with some sort of cloth over her face shakily walk out from between the buildings. Oddly enough, there were boulders even there. But even weirder was the fact that she walked up to one of them, lightly joined her hands and bowed her head before it, her face still hidden. Then, all was silence. Or silent. It actually looked like she was revering it. To me, it looked like she was praying to it. This was, bad. Really bad. I'd wandered into a settlement with a unique culture, to put it lightly. Forget causing trouble. An outsider like me could get killed here. I just turned around and ran for it. I dashed up the hill. Past the house. Through the construction site. Until I arrived back at the apartment building. Chiemi looked like a relatively reasonable person. Maybe she could tell me what was up. It just hit me that the way she described this place was somewhat weird. She basically said it wasn't normal. Or maybe you're a serial killer who brought me here just to get me drunk and kill me. Whoa, so I'm some evil mountain witch now. Sounds great. I'll kill you real good. Splosh splosh. No way. What if she was actually the bait that he used to lure outsiders here? That's a thought. Eventually the broadcast stopped. Chiemi still hadn't come out of her room. She didn't respond even when I knocked or called out to her. I didn't have to worry about this, right? That just made me inexplicably unease. My inexplicable unease grow worse. What if this was a trap? Was I in a dangerous situation? I had to talk to her. If she was a normal person, anyway. Maybe my best option was to run away right now. I wouldn't know where to run. I couldn't remember the path we'd taken here, Though I was pretty sure we'd went uphill, so maybe I had to go down? If I avoided the settlement and went back to the mountain stream, I could escape by following the wild roads. That was my best option, even with the difficulties considered. Thankfully, I'd taken my bag with me. I took out a 5,000 yen note and put it in Shiemi's newspaper box. It was payment for last night's beers. The moment I turned around to take my leave, the door to the room next to the staircase opened slightly with a creak. I saw an eye glaring at me through the gap. Gah! Ah! Her high-pitched scream, pierced my eardrums as the other one screaming. I screamed too, scared shitless, and ran for it. Suddenly, I stepped onto the wet hallway floor at a bad angle. I fell. Oh no. Thud, thud, thud. Haru-chan, what's wrong? Whoa, who's this old guy? Who are you? And are you alright? The reasonable-sounding voice prompted me to shake off the pain and raise my head. Oh, there were two boys. In formal-looking school uniforms. Are you alright? He repeated the question. Yeah, I was just startled. You friends with Shiene? Shiene? Oh, you mean Shiemi-chan? Are you a friend of hers from college? She didn't tell us anyone was visiting. Oh, I just got into some trouble and she helped me out. There's nothing shady about me, though I know that's hard to believe. He really is, old man. Man, how do I handle this? Anyway, my name is Haruaki Fusaishi. I'm Yasunaga Orabe. This is Chikamaki Kamoshida. Okay, that is much easier. Just Moki is fine. Good to know. If I called him that, maybe he'd stop calling me old man. I was only 24. And this is Haru-chan. What are you doing? We don't know him. Apparently this Haru-chan was the person who'd looked at me through the gap in the door and screamed. He seems safe. Come out. A moment later, she slammed the door shut, and after a few more moments of hesitation, opened it again. Whoa. She looked like a student too, except her fashion sense was exceptionally flashy. Who are you? Name's Huaki Fuzurashi. I don't know if I said that right. I crashed my motorbike nearby, and Shiemi Serazawa-san helped me out. Wait, are you saying you spent the night in her room? Yeah, I did. She cut my words short with her ear-piercing shriek. So that's why it was so noisy. What were you thinking? You're not supposed to enter an unmarried girl's room. It's indecent. Yeah, I was hesitant too, but Shiemi-chan was kind enough to let me in. Why are you acting like you've known her your whole life? Wait, she's not getting out. Don't tell me you... There's a 5,000 yen note in the door. Ear-shattering scream. Don't tell me you... No, she just gave me lots of booze. I'm paying back for that. That's so funny. Gianni's body is worth way more than that. How desolate. The hell are these kids saying? Hey, can you help me out? You drank with the girl you just met, and she's not coming out. Crap, I had no allies here. What's going on? And so the subject of the conversation joined in. Oh, Shiemi-chan, can you tell them what happened last night? What's she going to say? Something was off about her aura. What happened to the lively girl she'd been yesterday? Jenny, did you... Man, this is embarrassing. Whoa. Wait, hold on. Stop. I can't be a bride anymore. And the piercing shriek. Man, what a mess. Though Shiemi's face was all pale, she was actually grinning. She obviously had a bad hangover, but that didn't stop her from messing around. After calming everyone down, Shiemi explained what actually happened. How we met in the middle of the night. How she let me stay out of goodwill. How we drank ourselves silly and how nothing happened between us. Man, it's been so long since I drank that much. I guess I wasn't prepared for it and puked it out. Sorry you had to see that, Haruaki-san. Hey, I don't mind. That Haruchan girl still looked at me funny. Absurd. Anyway, sorry, I guess I was so tired yesterday that I couldn't refuse her kindness. Well, this is Shieni we're talking about. She does whatever she wants. He's got good reasons for being here too, so maybe the elders will understand. Where did you find him anyway? Well... Next to the river, further down. My words made everyone change their expressions. That's a bit... A big deal! 2 people. Over just 2 days. Did I say something bad? It was going to get out sooner or later, so we made quite a scene, so I wouldn't be surprised if everyone in Yasumizu already knows. Hey, what do you mean by 2 people over just 2 days? Don't touch me! You're filthy! I wasn't trying to touch her, and I wasn't filthy. Sure, I hadn't had a bath in over a day, but still. Hey, you, why is it a big deal? Taiba's gonna go ee! Well, that sure sounded bad. Can you tell me more? It's a bit complicated. For now, just keep in mind that this is the countryside. Things are different here than in the city. This guy here was Arobi-kun. Ignore Shiemi, and he was the easiest person to talk to. What should I do? Just leave it to me, alright? And it's time for students to eat, isn't it? Huh? I want to see where this mess goes. No, you don't. Just go already. We'll catch up. Well, I guess it's best to go separately. There's probably going to be some disagreements. Yeah, I knew you'd understand, Yasukun. Take care of them for me, alright? Sure. Stop treating me like a child. Yeah, I swear I'll poop on you. Let's just get going, you two. And so the students walked off toward the stairs. It was kind of easy to tell what sort of relationship they had. Anyway. So, they live in this building too? Yep, it's a student dorm, you know. A student dorm in this Hicksville? Still, my senses have betrayed me. There actually were other people here. By the way, you didn't run into anyone else and get in trouble, right? Yeah, I was careful on that front. Good. Let's get ready to go to the dining hall. Oh, for breakfast? No. Eat your breakfast now. We'll go to the dining hall to introduce you. Huh? To who? To whoever has a problem with an outsider coming from, Saranaga. Oh, so like that type of person, huh? I'm in your hands, then. It's fine. If you're not that grateful, keep what happened this morning a secret. Oh, if you're that grateful, keep this... okay, cool, got it. Sure thing. What's, Saranaga anyway? That river? Yeah, the river's called Saranaga Rapids, but the area around it is called Saranaga. The place has some cultural significance. It does? Yeah, they say it's a corrupt place, where the dead return from the other side. Oh, so that's why they'd reacted like that. Any other rules or customs I should be aware of? Is he supposed to be dead? Oh, there's lots. So just leave everything to me, alright? Gladly. On all fronts. If I may ask, are you in danger? No, but you should try to escape before something unpleasant happens to you. It's a weird thing to say. And you're going to lay the groundwork for that, huh? Yeah. The settlement I'd strayed to was a weird place, but at least the guide was reliable. And she wanted me to leave ASAP, huh? Hmm? That was depressing. Shiemi gave me some cup ramen for breakfast. She boiled the kettle in a small electric kettle. The girl herself was too hungover to eat anything. I did take the opportunity to pay her back for last night's drinks in person, though. Then we made our way to the dining hall. What are these boulders? They're like charms, I guess. They've been here forever. I've never seen anything like them anywhere else. Oh, yeah, I guess they're kind of unique to this area. She led me along a narrower path than I'd followed earlier. It didn't seem like any cars used this one. It was very farmy, I guess. This area was also littered with those boulders. Some were cracked, broken, or half buried in the fields. They were clearly religious symbols, but it didn't look like they were that important these days. Or were they? Now that I knew I was safe, I once again became curious about this place. Oh, there's a person. He was working on the field. That's Takamine-chan. Morning! Jamie waved her hand. The man responded, but then froze mid-wave. Let's go. Are you sure we should? The guy looked pretty surprised to see me. Don't worry. He'll be at the dining hall soon. We'll explain things then. Well, if she said so. As an outsider, I had no choice but to rely on her. This was the part of the village I saw this morning, where the buildings were more densely packed. I didn't notice it back then, but it was actually kind of weird. Basically, it felt desolate. The wooden bungalows in particular were more or less overgrown, buried in tall grass and other greenery. If this was all I saw of the village and someone told me it was abandoned, I'd have easily believed them. However, two of the buildings stood out. There was a hall right beyond the hill. It wasn't that big, but it looked grand and well maintained. The other building was obviously the dining hall. It looked a bit dirty, but I could tell there were people inside from what I could tell. It was the most lively place in this poor excuse for a community. Suddenly, the three students walked out, chatting about something. Ah, Chiani, and Fuzai-shi-san. Morning again. Aren't you late? We took forever because Moki doesn't stop saying nonsense. Yes, I am evil. Give me miso soup. Oh, you'll make it if you hurry. Behave in class, you guys. Half dashing, the three of them ran up the path we came from. They're all in high school, huh? Yep. There's a branch school all the way up the mountain. I was going there myself 3 years ago. Sounds like a hassle. It's not all bad. At least we get to live in that dorm. Shemi was entirely straight-faced. There wasn't even a hint of a smile. Alright. Let's get psyched. Yeah. I'm not convinced. We laughed a little and passed the curtain. Welcome. Oh. The inside was as aged as the outside. but it did look well maintained. Is he a visitor, Shiemi-chan? The hostess-looking lady asked. That the thing I just said. Though somewhat aged and fatigued, she was definitely beautiful. Well, hello. There were two others beside her. One was a lady in her 70s or 80s. She was probably the one I saw this morning. The silhouette matched. The other was a man who seemed a bit younger than her, probably in his late 60s. They were just sitting there. Though they were just sitting there, there was a menacing aura about them. I'll introduce him. This is Haruaki Fusaishi. I found him at Saranaga last night and took him into my care. Their reactions were powerful. The lady gasped, while the two elders rose to their feet with alarm. The tension that was already there the moment I walked in reached its peak. I know you're concerned, but this is just a coincidence. Unlike that little girl, he knows exactly where he came from. He went on an old path with his bike and crashed it. It's actually really sad. That's why I think we should help him leave. Interesting. What do you think? After saying all that, Shiemi felt silent. The ball was in their court now. Now, that is troubling. The lady voiced a harmless opinion, careful not to upset the old people. It was pretty clear that they were in charge. They were elders in more ways than one.
Shishan, why did you even go to Saranaga at night?
I had a hunch, I guess. You know what happened? I couldn't fall asleep.
Then he's got to be a Yamabito.
Shut it, Taiba.
From the conversation, it was pretty clear that something had happened before I arrived here. It was probably similar to what happened with me. She'd mentioned some little girl. Perhaps there was a child who'd wandered in here like I did? According to Shiemi, the Saranaga Rapids were a place of significance around here. It was a place from which dead people came to life or whatever. Oh, so this is Tai. This Tai must have been the E lady that the boy mentioned. And the Yamabito must have been a term for the dead who came from there. Apparently the primary goal here was convincing these elders to approve helping me.
Where are you from?
The old man's voice put my derailed mind back on track. I'm from Tokyo.
How old are you?
24.
Older than she. Huh?
He chuckled. I immediately realized he was taking a jab at me for hiding behind a younger girl. Nice to meet you. I'm Haruaki Fusaishi. Like she said. I wandered into town after my bike crashed. I seem to be a total outsider here, so I didn't want to speak out of turn. That's why I asked her to talk on my behalf, but I think I should say something at least. I won't trouble you any longer than I have to, so I would be grateful if you pardon my brief stay. And please don't blame her for helping me. Hey, Haruaki-san. I think she went against this village's customs by helping me out. The students also seem surprised. My. I'm an adult. I'm willing to take responsibility for any trouble I caused, as best I can. So please put up with me. I bowed my head.
He seems alright to me, Taiba.
Don't know about that. Look at his hair. All coloured brown.
Shit, I forgot I didn't look very presentable to more traditionalist people.
Outsiders are all like that. Outsiders are all like that. Just help him get out of here, I says.
Oh, hang on. Who is which one? So that is the old woman, okay.
Do what you want.
I guess I get the half-hearted approval. Oh, okay. So the one who is question marks is the guy, okay.
Haruaki. Haru, like my granddaughter. What a mess.
Oh, so that means you're... Yep, he's Haru-chan's grandpa. Kanzo Makashami. A pleasure. I didn't know what else to say. Haro-chan and I weren't on the best terms so far. Anyway, it seemed like we were past the difficult part.
Drove into Saranaga, eh?
No, actually, I asked for directions at a convenience store, went down a side road and ended up losing control on an unpaved section.
And then you went in, Saranaga. Why didn't you turn around?
He wasn't impressed by my choice of actions. It just hit me that I had no idea how much time passed between the crash and my meeting with Shiemi.
Takumi and I'll go see it.
Takumi's working in the field.
Is to get him to leave. Let the boy help.
You never change, Kan-chan.
What's going on here?
We're joined by a new inhabitant. Shiemi, who's that guy? Oh, Takumi Nichan. Oh, so he was the one we saw on the field. Oh, he sure looked big from up close. All that field work was good for his muscles, clearly, and from what I could tell, he was in his 30s. As Shiemi introduced me and told me of my situation, I found out his name was Takumi Moro. Man, that must have been hard. So, old man Kanzo.
We'll pick it up.
Thought so. Tai-ba-chan, wait a bit while I help the guy. I already spread the stuff on the field, so I'll mow the grass at noon.
What a good boy.
Ha 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 ha! It ain't a big deal. I'll be so quick you'll think nothing happened.
Good to hear.
Nothing, huh?
Boy.
Huh? Me? What is it?
You're in Yasumizu. It ain't a good place.
It was the place that wasn't good. Not my presence here.
We don't like outsiders here, and outsiders should let sleeping dogs lie. So you should hurry on and leave.
That's the plan. So it's sold. Yep. Thanks, Takumi Nichan. I was beginning to understand how things worked here. Although Kanzo Mikishima's voice was the most powerful here, it was also important to get Tai-san's approval. Kanzo-san was probably in charge of tackling the settlement's practical problems, while Tai-san provided spiritual and moral direction. And then it was time to be civilized. When it was time to be civilized, Takumi-san came and convinced Tai-san acting as an intermediary. It looked like Takumi-san himself understood such subtleties, and Shiemi seemed to rely on this side of him. Here you go. The lady brought some tea to the old folk. Perfect timing. Oh, Kori-san. Looking forward to getting some food. So that was her name. Sure. I'll make a lot. It'll be a reward for waking up early and working hard. Hey, I'm doing it for Yasumizu, Ba-chan. Hang on. Yasumizu, Ba-chan and you. It's nothing really. Oh my. These two sure seem to get along. They look about the same age too. Would you like something to eat too? No thank you, I already ate. Then here's some tea. I can also get you a light snack if you'd like. Or would you like, what would you say to some onigiri? Oh, that would be... Sorry, can we borrow the phone? We need it quick. Oh? Sure, but why not have some tea first? Thanks, but it's urgent. Let's go, Hararaki-san. And I think that's going to be another episode of Borderline Games. Thank you so much for watching this part of Raging Loop. And I guess I'll see you next time. We'll be finding out why Shiemi suddenly decided to take us away from this group of people. It seems like there's some kind of weird... is there going to be zombies involved? If that's what's going on? And it seems like they're worried about something that I'm capable of or something that I am. So maybe they think that I am dead, seeing as I've crossed that river. I don't know. Anyway, I'll see you later. Have a good evening. Bye-bye. Bye.